excited to be talking to the Heavy and Floral team. And I think the best way to get started is for each of you to introduce yourself and kind of talk about how you're connected to this amazing project. Let's start with the director, Richa.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm Richa Rudola. I wrote the script and very much looking forward to directing it in a few weeks. The story is very personal to me and just a borderline autobiographical. And I'm very, very lucky to work with this amazing team that you see on the screen on this film. Thank you.
Okay. And then Lela.
Hi, my name's Lela Meadow-Conner. I am one of the producers on the film. And Richa, I'm not sure how we met. We met through a mutual connection and we just started chatting and one thing led to another. And here we are making this movie, both as moms, very passionate about this story, both, from the point of view of a working mother and the recognition that does not get in, the greater industry and especially our country at large. So I will toss it to Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin Rose Singer. I'm also a producer on the film with Lela. I have been trying to find a way to support Richa's work for years. I've known her and we've run in the same circles for years. And I have always really, really admired her as a creative and loved collaborating with her. So this project came up. I am a brand new mom of about 5 months now. So this is my first narrative project back after becoming a mom. And it's super meaningful to be a part of it for both that reason and finally getting to support Richa's work.
Yeah, that's great. And Richa, could you talk about kind of the conception of this idea? Yeah.
Sure, Rebecca. First, I'll just supplement what Lela and Robin said. Lela is the first person that came on board the film sometime in the fall of last year. And Robin is somebody I have been waiting to work with. So just was like, come hell or high water, I have to find a way to work with Robin on this film. So just wanted to say that. It's a dream come true to work with the two of them.
Oh, that's great.
But the conception of this film came very much in the opposite way of feeling excited and God, I've not prepared this answer at all, but bear with me. I was very surprised by when I became a mom almost 2.5 years ago. I thought that postpartum depression happens like right away. My own misinformation or whatever you call it. I was very surprised by the late onset of it and the duration of it. And also it came at a time when I was trying to figure out how to survive as an artist in this industry. I actually thought about quitting because I was like, I just don't see how you can make it work financially, creatively, mental health wise, all kinds of reasons. And I basically had a massive identity crisis and which went on for a long period of time. And I then, my doctor had called it postpartum depression. My therapist had called it burnout. My friends in the film industry were like, girlfriend, you're going through a development hell period. And I was like, which of these three things is it? Is it all of them? I don't know. All I know is I started to feel better when I channeled it into the form of a story. And it actually, I don't know how it came to me, but I was sitting on this desk and I think it came to me from outside this idea to the best way to represent it is kind of like our Zoom screen right now, like show each personality in, each persona in each, because so I wish I can take credit for it, but it's not my idea. It came to me and I was smart enough to catch it and then put it in the script and that's it. And Lela is one of the early sort of folks that read it, and I will give her the credit for helping me evolve it. I feel like every rewrite that I did, Lela was always the first one to read it, and she would read it within like 30 minutes. And it just kept getting better. And then somehow this summer we decided we're just going to bite the bullet and make it.
Yeah, that's great. And Lela and Robin, can you talk about what attracted you to this project and getting involved? So Lela, we could start with you.
Sure. Well, I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. I'm the old mom of the group. I've got a 14-year-old and 8-year-old. So I've been, dealing with this sort of struggle for a long time and trying to prove myself and being like, I can do it all. And that did lead to some postpartum when I had my second child, because I was running a film festival at the time. And I kind of was like, I just pushed myself the day after, I had my baby. I was in the hospital, like doing a grant review panel, like on the phone, because I was like, I need that money, and there was no stopping it. And it, like Richa said, like took a little bit of time. And I realized like, wow, I think I have PPD and I didn't even know it. And for me, it manifested as anxiety. And so it took me a bit of time to realize that. And I just think that it's a conversation that we need to have. And there's so much, we hear about it and we get all excited about it, but we really need to like light the fire under people. There's so many, and in other countries, we look at the times that the way that the maternal care that they have, the maternal care system, we just don't have that in this country. And it's really, really sad. And it's really hard. And moms and dads, working parents, even stay-at-home parents, they suffer from this too. Whatever they're doing in their daily lives. And so it's something that I feel really passionate about. And I love that Richa's script captures that sort of like all the different sort of personalities or the feelings that one has when you're dealing with in this situation. And I've just been so excited to work with Robin too, because like she's this prolific award-winning filmmaker, and like Richa, and like in the like few months we've been working together, I feel like I'm going to film school. It's amazing. She's like a wealth of knowledge with a 4-month-old. So it's again just about connecting and making with a community of moms. Like we never have to say we're sorry if we're on a Zoom call and the baby is fussing or smiling, or a 8-year-old comes in and is like starting to talk to you. It's not, there's just an understanding about the way that we work, and it's not apologetic. It's a village of coming together to make something really lovely.
Yeah, that's great. Robin?
I would say first the team, obviously. Lela, like I feel like I learned as much from her as she learns from me. We have such complementary skill sets, and just the way she articulates things, and she's like, this is what we're doing. I'm like, yes, I just love that fire and that energy, and seeing it from moms who came before me. It's really inspiring and empowering to see everybody, making it all work in our own ways. Like it's never perfect, and we figure it out though. And that's what I love so much about the team. I definitely saw myself in this script when I first read it as well. My dog also decided to have a GI issue right after I brought a baby home, and I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not the only one. That was reassuring. And then on top of that, I'm such a nerd for anything new and experimental, and I love the format of this film specifically. I think it's just I love how Richa like really just dives into like the experimental aspects of the film, and it's so her, like having read some of her other writing too. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see how this all works out, because I think it's going to be really, really just a beautiful, poetic, touching, and emotional experience of motherhood.
Yeah. And I think so. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the format and the structure of it, because I was just fascinated with the idea of like multiple identities. Like, can you talk about how you envision that? Like, I know there's like different parts, like mother, writer, dreamer. Like, can you talk about how that you envision it to flow together?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
the title of the film, by the way, came from this poem by Sylvia Plath that I read when, like Lela, I was in the throes of PPD, but didn't quite know it. And it just spoke to me, this expression, this verse, cow, heavy and floral. Cow is very obviously the mother persona. I was probably breast pumping at the time when I was reading it on my phone, So cow is obviously the mother persona. Heavy is just the writer persona, very much how I mean, just even when you're not a mom or like going through emotional things, writing can be a very heavy process for me. It can be. There's lots of positives and fun about it, but it can also sometimes feel very draining and heavy. So, and certainly for this character, that's where we find her. So heavy is that. And which is my favorite persona of hers, is something I hope everyone can identify with, because that's just being a person. It is when some of these other things have been stripped away from you, how you know, almost like how you are by yourself and when no one's watching, no one's around, or when your mind wanders. And that's, I love that type of like subconscious way, almost unconscious way of being. So that is the bottom left quadrant. If you're keeping tabs, cow, heavy, and floral is, I'm obsessed with dreams. So this is just, you know, using the word dream kind of loosely here, like dreamer, like, you know, everyone dreams, but in this particular case, the person, this is a tired mom who barely manages to get any sleep, but in the few hours of sleep she manages to get, she goes into REM status and she sees dreams. And so to me, the top row is our living, like surface level lived reality that you tend to see. This is how we see people, right? Oh, you see somebody momming, you see somebody dadding, if that's a word, right? I mean, of course it's a word. If momming is a word, dadding is a word.
That's right.
You see someone parenting, you see someone being whoever they are, their professional personas, so to speak. And then the stuff, the bottom row is the stuff you don't see. It's like the, you know, you see the tip of the iceberg here, and there's so much more to all of us below the surface. So it's that. And the 4 quadrants are going to be on pretty much the entire time. They're going to interplay with each other. There's going to be a little bit of that, and we're going to shoot in such a way that we can play around with it in post if we need to, because that's the fun part. That's the experimental part. Ultimately, the story is very linear. You just see the information in a way that you can process a little bit more. You see something happening here and you realize, oh, there's more happening here. Because when you say things are in the back burner of your mind, you can see the back burner on the screen in this case. So you see it's a more layered approach to character storytelling.
Yeah, that's great. And then can you talk about the actress that's playing the main character or characters?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, Jessica Mendes-Sequeiros is she's also like, you know, Lela and Robin, like very multifaceted. She's an amazing writer director in her own right. But I have seen her act. And when I was writing this piece, I was trying to keep, just for the sake of writing, I was trying to keep somebody that I know is a great actress who I know is also a mom. So I had her in mind. And then when I reached out to her, she was very interested, and I was so happy about that. So I go a lot by gut when it comes to casting. And I just felt from the beginning that Jess was very good for the part. And so far, she has not proved me wrong. So yeah, I think she's wonderful. And I cannot wait I can't wait to see her in the film, and I can't wait for the world to see her in the film.
And then Lela and Robin, do you know the actress at all? The one have you met her, or did you? I don't know if you want to comment on her at all.
I haven't had the pleasure to meet her in person yet because she's LA based and I'm in New York.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But we know so many of the same people, and her name has been floated so many times for so many things. And
okay,
you know, just aware of her talent, but we haven't unfortunately gotten to meet in person. And I think, you know, I'm super stoked to see how she takes on this role.
Yeah.
And she's very multi-talented, which is amazing. I met her on a Zoom recently, but I actually know her work because I program a film series dedicated to reproductive justice, and we featured a short film that she was in. And I was like, oh, hey, that's Jess. So it's really cool. Again, like worlds colliding and moms orbiting each other.
Yeah, that's great. And then I have 2 more kind of biggish questions. So this is a question I always ask. I want to ask each of you, what do you hope people see in this film? Let's start with Richa.
I hope people see that there is an actual juggling act that everyone is doing that they can see represented in this film, whether or not they're a parent. This is not a motherhood or fatherhood film. It's equally about how to survive in a place where you feel like you're sort of living, you're trying to live for your dreams. And there is that passion tax that sometimes you feel like you have to pay to keep going on in something that can seem so difficult. And even if someone does not work in a, sort of professional day job type of a thing, being a parent is that. So if anything, I think the split screens hopefully offer many opportunities for people to see themselves reflected either as their whole selves or their fragmented selves that we sometimes can't think of ourselves to be. And the second thing I'd love to imagine, I'd love for people to see is that we are trying to make a film about a theme that we are also trying to, this is not worded right. This film is thematically about the same things with which we have made the film, like with how we have made the film. Like maybe you don't see a lot of parents in the film and TV industry because it's so freaking hard. Or maybe people don't lead with that because they are worried about perceptions and that. So we are choosing to boldly or foolishly make a film with parents. Most of our team is filled with parents. And no one can say that, oh, there aren't any parents out there, or it's hard to survive in the industry being a parent. Well, we're going to show you. We're here. We refuse to kind of quit. And we love it. And we're trying to represent that way. So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Lela?
Yeah, I love the meta-ness of it all. And you said something that jogged something in my head, and now I just totally lost it. But I think that like definitely empathy. And I think what Richa said about not just like being relatable to mothers, although I hope it can catalyze a bigger conversation around like the things that we have to deal with, but also to fathers and to people, like Richa said, people who don't have children. It's an accessible way. Film is such an accessible way to have conversations. And so I'm really hopeful that that's, something that comes out of it. And if I remember what I was going to say, I'll hop back in.
Robin?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo that as well. I hope people see themselves in it. I hope, people, filmmakers in particular, I think it's really interesting to go outside the box a little bit. So I hope it inspires filmmakers to, start to look at their work in different ways as well. And I hope people see the love that we put into it on the screen too, because there's a whole lot of love in this film. So
that's great. And because you guys are in the fundraising time, I'd love for you to talk about kind of how that's going and what people can do to help.
Oh, thank you for asking. It's very hard to prep for a film while trying to raise money for a film. I've never done it before, but I have to say, I think we're doing quite well. Our campaign is doing really well. I hope it's not so much because we are marketing pros. I don't even have a MailChimp account. I've been individually emailing. It's painful, but it's actually really fun. I really like it because I feel like I'm telling my story. I'm telling other people's story. But we are at 68% in just at the halfway point. So we still have like 13, 14 more days to go. And we have just about 4,000 more to be greenlit.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, folks can help by just sharing this with more people so that people can listen to the story, read about it, see our team, how we're going to spend the funds. And if that speaks to them, then if they can make a pledge, amazing. But if just spreading the word will also get us a long way there.
Yeah, that's great. Lela, Robin, did you want to comment at all about fundraising?
I mean, I will say this is the first time I've ever been involved in a crowdfunding campaign in all my years working in nonprofit and film, and it's stressful, but it's so super exciting. Every time we get a pledge, I'm like, oh yeah, and I love waking up in the morning and seeing like you have a new pledge, and it's really cool just to see all the people that have come out of the woodwork, like over 100 people to support this project. And obviously a lot of that is because of Richa and her amazing vision. And it's so lovely to see that people are in support of that. So yeah, if you can help us by pledging any amount, doesn't matter, and or spreading the word amongst your friends, and or once it comes out, we hope that we'll see you in the theater somewhere to watch it with us.
Yes. And is this a shorter feature? I should have.
Oh, it's a short film. Yeah.
Short film? Okay. I
Mhm.
wasn't sure, but yeah, it could definitely work well as a short.
Yeah, because it's a lot to expect people to look at 4 screens.
Right. For
And I
like
don't even
over
have
an
the
hour.
capacity. Robin is probably more skilled than I am to write a split screen feature. I'm not. This was a lot for me to do. So we're gonna just stick with this for now.
Yeah. And then Robin, did you want to comment at all? And by the way, I am linking the Seed and Spark link. So that will, just look in it'll be around. So it's on Seed and Spark, the fundraiser. So
Thank you, Rebecca.
yeah. And that, Robin, did you want to add anything to the fundraising?
I would just add that I think there are additional incentives for the quantity of followers. So if folks aren't feeling like they want to share or contribute, you can still follow us on Seed and Spark, and all of those things add up to additional incentives for us that cost you absolutely nothing more than the click of a button.
Yeah. That's great. I'm very excited about this project. And I thought I would end it reading. So this is something I like to do. I like to read people's bios and then like pull a line out and be like, can you elaborate on that? And so, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Starting with Richa, I love this line. She is dedicated to helping people open up to new perspectives, devoted to authenticity, driven by intellectual curiosity, and has it out for bad time management. So I just thought, could you elaborate on the curiosity, authenticity, and these kind of projects that you're drawn to make?
Absolutely. I'm not one of those bona fide filmmakers that went to film school. I've always, not so much anymore, but for a number of years, I've felt, oh gosh, I wish I'd gone to film school. Like I'm not one of those organic filmmakers. Or maybe I am organic. The point is, I've just tried to follow what makes me feel like myself. And that's why every film I made so far, whether it was about sex trafficking and vampirism, healing from sexual trauma, or having an identity crisis as a postpartum writer, all of these things are extremely personal. My husband thinks every single thing is autobiographical, but how can it be? I'm not a vampire. I have not been sex trafficked, but like they're extremely personal, So for me, being authentic is very important in how I show up. And that's why it bleeds into my work. And I love showing new perspectives for myself. And if that can happen for others in the process, great. But I'm primarily interested in lifelong learning and finding new ways of thinking, new ways of connecting the dots. So the split screen is a classic example of that. That's why I'm telling you, I didn't come up with it. And when it came to me, I was like, this is super. I'm going to run with this.
No, but you're making it happen, which is a beautiful thing. And I'll go to Lela last. Robin, I love this line here in your bio. She specializes in true stories and adaptations with big emotional impact and cinematic storytelling. She gravitates towards messy characters, undiscovered worlds, and finding fresh takes on genre to make exploring the human condition exciting. I love that. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, I forgot what was in my bio for a second. Yeah, for me, I have this just tendency, I think, towards like big operatic, kind of emotions and drama. I started in this business as an actor originally. So, the bigger, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And I just really love, huge stories. So for me, this format just made sense when Richa was like, we're going to make a film, but it's sort of like 4 films and it's still one film. Yes, let's do it. Let's dig into all these different layers, because, this is such a unique, inspiring way to explore character in particular. So for me, I was definitely pulled towards the film for that reason.
Yeah.
And I don't tend to write small either. And, you know, every time someone's like, can you do like 2 characters in one location? I'm like, it turns into just a lot more than that every single time. I think my first short, we had about 25 actors in almost 12 locations or
Oh
something.
my goodness.
And
That's
fight
a lot of
scenes,
work.
animals, children, you know, it's just, I don't know. I appreciate that about the medium of cinema though.
Yeah.
You know, it lets you explore all those things and travel anywhere. So
Oh, that's great. And Lela, your Mama Film, like your organization, you are the face, and I'm just pulling a line from your bio, but I'd love to hear kind of, you know, yeah, I'm just going to read it. So Mama Film is a village at the crossroads of art and advocacy where storytellers, change makers, and nurturers come together to champion humanity through maternal gaze. Oh my God, sorry.
Blaze. Oh my gosh, I love it.
The tongue. You know, it's funny. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to leave it there. So can you talk about maternal gaze?
Actually,
Yeah.
I totally remembered what I was going to say earlier, which was something that
Go for
Richa
it. Yeah.
had said, was that, you know, we don't often lead with the fact that we're parents. And it kind of goes to my point of, you know, working with women and people who are parents and never having to apologize for that. I mean, in my bio, I say I'm the founder of Mama Film, but it's not until the end of my bio that I say I have 2 children. And so I find even that, like, as a mom in this industry, it's really hard to lead with that. And I'm hopeful that maybe, like, with this film, even myself, I can become more comfortable with leading with that fact. So anyway, yes, Mama Film is all about championing humanity through a maternal gaze.
Gaze.
But I now think we should make like a maternal glazed donut or something, because I love
Yeah,
it.
I know.
But really it's just, you know, and so many independent films, especially, I mean, even non-independent films are at the center of them. It's relationships and, you know, nurturing those relationships. And I think that we can all relate to those in some way, whether or not we're a parent or a carer or a friend or a spouse or whatever. So I think that, like, but there's something special about the maternal gaze, I think. And I love the idea of coming together and looking at media through that lens.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you all for joining Cinema Femme, and I am excited to get this out there, spreading the word. And yeah, I'm going to champion this film. So keep me informed.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And this was recorded, so we're just.
Thank
All right,
you,
have a good
everyone.
day.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.